So every time I do a foundation review, I get questions like, so what are your favorite foundations? Or do you still like X foundation? Or have you tried Y foundation? So today, I'm going to create an encyclopedia of sorts, an encyclopedia of foundations that I use and enjoy. And then at the end, I'm going to give you my top 3. I'm going to be speaking about over 20 foundations today, and I've categorized them from super sheer to epic full coverage. I'm going to try to keep it really short and snappy, get things moving, but as always, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section because I'm always in the comment section. FYI, I do have a dry skin type. I prefer your satin and dewy foundations, and I love a smoothing formula. I love something that makes me look poreless, so those are my preferences. So let's start with the super sheer foundations, right? I do enjoy the Tom Ford Traceless Foundation. This is the one in the square bottle. So this is very sheer and very glossy. This is your kind of minimal glossier aesthetic, right? It doesn't really set, and as a consequence, it doesn't really build on itself. This one is meant to be worn sheer. The Armani Maestro Glow. I do have a full review of this product, which I will link on the screen. Apparently this is being discontinued. I've heard from multiple sources, so if you want it, get in quick. Worn alone, this foundation is, again, very sheer and so glossy. It's a real no makeup kind of foundation, almost editorial, I would say, in the glossiness. Mainly I use it as a mixer. I use the white Maestro Glow into some of my darker foundations, and I maintain that mixing a little bit of Maestro Glow into anything just makes it more beautiful and dewy and skin-like. So sad to see this go. MAC Face and Body, cult classic, right? Another sheer dewy option. This uses film forming technology, so perhaps it's more long wearing than other sheer dewy foundations. As you blend in the product, that film former starts to get like really thick and tacky, and I would say claggy. It's a unique experience. It's not really an experience I enjoy. So I only use this one occasionally, despite the fact that it gives a really beautiful outcome. The By Terry Sheer Expert. So this is an interesting sheer foundation because unlike the others, this one has more of a satin finish as opposed to an uber dewy finish. And when you rub the product between your fingers, you can really feel that dimethicone slip. It feels like a primer, right? So this one is going to be really good for minimizing pores and smoothing texture. So good. Slight bump up in coverage now. So these are some of my favorite sheer to medium coverage foundations. I have the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder. The pigment in this product is just so fine that it looks so much like skin. And one layer will give you a very sheer veil, and then a second layer you can get kind of almost to a medium. Also the shade 6, FYI, very olive. If you want something similar to the Charlotte Tilbury but at a more reasonable price point, is that a moth? I really like the Rimmel Wake Me Up foundation. This is sheer and dewy and skin-like, really nice. I am starting to sound like a broken record. The YSL Fusion Ink Cushion, I have worn this, no joke, every day for like over a year now. I'm onto my 4th compact. Cushion foundations I think are really genius. They're so easy to apply. You just pop it open, dab, 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 bang. You often see me do that at the back of an Uber. They market this one as a matte. It's not. It is super dewy. I would say veering on glossy. I don't know how the marketing team got that so wrong. And I find that it's sheer but buildable. So I can wear it lightly during the day, but I can also add a little bit extra in the evening, and I feel evening appropriate. It's funny because I get so many compliments on my skin when I wear this. People are like, oh my gosh, your skin is so beautiful. And I'm like, no, it's YSL. The Armani To Go Essence In Foundation Cushion SPF 23. So this is a new launch, I believe, and it's still new to me, but I thought I would mention it today because I do like it. I think I still prefer my YSL Fusion Ink Cushion. This one is a little bit more of a satin finish, right? So I find that sometimes it can look a little bit dry in areas, although if you're combo or oilier, that actually might work to your advantage. What I will say is that I love the puff on this product. It's a little bit angular, so you can get a little bit of precision around your nose and the nooks and the crannies. I will report back, but I am enjoying it. If you want an awesome cushion foundation, but you don't necessarily want to spend the big bucks, can I please recommend the L'Oreal Nude Magique cushion? I think this might go by a different name in the US. This stuff is brilliant. It's got, again, a nice kind of sheer to medium coverage, really dewy, really skin-like. I have no complaints at all, except one complaint. I do find that the cushion, the actual fiber of the cushion, is just that little bit stiffer. So you just need to press deeper with your puff. That's what she said. Yeah, definitely check that one out. The Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. So when this product first launched, I remember seeing reviews that described it as a full coverage. And I've got to respectfully disagree. To me, this is a sheer foundation, but it does set. So after your first layer, you can actually build upon that for a more sheer to medium coverage. The major selling point to me for this foundation is how lightweight it is. It's got a really fluid texture and it feels absolutely weightless on the skin. I often forget that I'm wearing it. It also has a little bit more of a satin finish as opposed to a really dewy finish. So it does have better longevity, and I think that this one is going to translate well on your normal and your combo skin types as well. Another bump up in coverage here. So let's move to your solid, medium, and your medium buildable coverage kind of foundations. So this is the Kogan Do Aqua. If you've been watching me for a while, this will come as no surprise. Such a creamy foundation that really sits beautifully on your more mature skin types or your dry skin types. You're gonna get that medium coverage, but it never looks like heavy or mask-like. I often get questions as to why you don't often see this on my platforms anymore, and it's because of the shade. They do one brilliant, brilliant cool olive shade. It's 213, and this only matches me when I'm at my very, very palest. The rest of the shades are kind of weird and peachy, and it's a real pity because honestly, I would use this much more often. Really quick shout out to the Bourjois Healthy Mix. Now, they have reformulated this, and my favorite was the old formulation. I haven't tried the new one yet, but I thought that I should just quickly mention this because it was my favorite for so many years. If you have tried the reformulation, I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section. The Lancome Miracle Cushion. So this has more coverage than the other cushion foundations that I mentioned, and it's more satin. So if you're not about that dewy life, might be worth looking into this one. I have the shade 04, which is much too dark for me, but this is the foundation that I use when I'm fake tanned. I just add a little bit to my face and it just helps to mesh the fake tan on my body to my white floating head. I really like it. The Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, nobody is surprised. I have said this before and I will say it again, this is the most photogenic foundation on the market. I once worked with a makeup artist who did a lot of television. That was her specialty. And she said that she only used Luminous Silk on presenters because it's that good. And it hits a lot of sweet spots for me, right? It's not sheer, but it's not full coverage, it's a nice medium. It's not matte and it's not dewy, it's just a nice satin. It sets down a little bit, but not bulletproof to the point where it's cakey, just enough. If you have very oily skin, I can imagine that this might shift on you. But if you are anywhere from like a dry to a combination skin, girl, get yourself a sample and wear it to your wedding or your kid's wedding or any such wedding. Another medium coverage favorite, this is the Armani Lasting Silk UV Foundation. Now this is another foundation that Armani seems to be phasing out. I'm starting to believe that this might be a personal attack on me. I don't understand why they're trying to change something that ain't broke. These formulas are beautiful. What are you doing? This is not terribly dissimilar to Luminous Silk, but it always felt a little bit more daytime to me, whereas Luminous Silk is more nighttime, right? So this one has a thinner consistency, it's a little bit more lightweight, it's got a little bit of SPF protection. I bought a few backups, and if you like it, you should too, because this is on its way out. The NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation and the NARS Sheer Glow. I'm going to keep this brief because I have actually done a video reviewing and comparing these two foundations. I'm going to link that on the screen. Both of them are beautiful. They're flash friendly, they're satin finish, medium buildable coverage, nice. I would still pick the Armani Luminous Silk over these two foundations. And to me, they occupy the same space, right? They fulfill the same purpose. They've definitely earned a place in this video, don't get me wrong, but they're not Luminous Silk. The Urban Decay All Nighter. I was actually really surprised at how skin-like this one looked despite offering a good, solid, medium coverage. My only gripe is that it tends to lift and transfer, right? Especially as I'm applying my bronzer and my blush and my highlight. I just have to be really careful with the brush and like really finicky, but visually, beautiful. Also, the shade 4, Olive. I got you, girlfriend. The L'Oreal Pro Matte. So if you told me in a blind test that this was a really high-end foundation, I would totally believe you. It feels like a very refined and luxe formula. Really lightweight, can be built to a good medium plus coverage, and it has actually a very flattering matte finish. Matte, but not flat. It's rare for me to enjoy a matte foundation this much, and one of my favorite things is the way it just blurs pores. It just gives the skin this kind of soft focus effect, and this one actually looks better as the day progresses. So if you have an oilier skin type, I think this is going to look even more beautiful on you. The Dior Air Flash Spray Foundation. So I purchased this thinking that I could just go like shh and it be done. No, Padawan, that's not how makeup works. It just gets all up into your hairline and into your brows. No. I actually tend to spray a few close dots onto my face and then blend this with a brush. This had a real moment on YouTube a little while back, and with good reason. It's brilliant. It is so lightweight, it's light as air, one might expect, and it's got a good medium plus coverage, and the product sets, right? So it's not prone to transfer. But I can't find this in physical Australian stores, like physical David Jones. I can find it on the David Jones website in like 2 shades. Are they discontinuing this too? I don't know if my heart could take it. Now moving on to what I consider to be legit full coverage foundations. And I actually only have 2 formulas in this category because I think really full coverage foundations are hard to get right. A lot of them look really matte and cakey and mask-like on me, but these, I think they're winners. The Makeup Store Sculpt Excellence Foundation. So this doesn't feature too much on my channel because I recognize that it's really difficult for many of you to get your hands on. And turns out, listen to this, Makeup Store is leaving Australia too. This is a stunning, creamy formula that feels really nourishing on the skin but gives you that full coverage and a dewy finish. It's incredible. Dewy full coverage foundations are really hard to come by. Even harder to come by are dewy full coverage foundations in really olive shades. The entire Sculpt Excellence shade range is like so green. It's like comically green, which works out perfectly for me. If you can get your hands on this, do it. Lucky last, this is the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. This featured in my 2017 Beauty Favorites video, and it's the only stick foundation that I've truly enjoyed. Typically, stick foundations on my skin look really waxy and texture and mask-like, but Vanish is creamy and it meshes and sinks into the skin really beautifully. I'll be honest, I've always struggled with the shade range in this foundation. So look at this. This isn't even all of them. I'm just about I'm buying and collecting all of the shades because none of them are quite right. So I do end up mixing. This, although it's really creamy, it's not shiny. And I do know that Sharon, who has an oilier skin type, also loves this one. So it looks as though it works well in your drier skin types and your oilier skin types and everything in between. My only gripe, my only beef, is that it doesn't come with a lot of product and you go through it really fast. This is an expensive habit, but I forgive you. Okay, so now that I've reviewed all those foundations, I just want you to stop for one moment and think to yourself, what are Karima's top 3? Have a moment. I'm gonna give you a moment. I would say my top 3 foundations in no order are the YSL Fusion in Cushion because I've been wearing it literally every day for over a year. The Armani Luminous Silk foundation because it has an olive shade, shade 6, and it is just the most photogenic, beautiful evening foundation ever. And then my final favorite, this one might surprise you, the Makeup Store Sculpt Excellence. I must admit that one of the reasons that I love this foundation so much is that I can actually genuinely get a decent match, color match. So I don't have an orange floating head, which is, often the case with a lot of foundations on the market. You might notice I didn't mention any powder foundations, and that's because personally, I don't really use powder foundations alone. I sometimes use them over a liquid foundation to get a little notch more coverage, but ultimately I prefer my cream and my liquid formulas, probably because I'm dry. I legit feel thirsty right now. I feel like I've run a marathon, a foundation marathon. Hopefully I didn't put you guys to sleep. What was I gonna say? I'm gonna put a whole bunch of links in the description box to stockists and previous reviews that I've done and more about my shade, etc, etc. Also, I would love to know, what is your favorite foundation? Let me know in the comment section down below, and also tell us your skin type so that we can all have a read and be better informed. Also, come say hello to me on Instagram at Karima McKimmie, because I'm active there every day and I love to chat. I hope you're having a wonderful day, whatever it is that you're up to, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye.